Welcome to the Executive Coaching Podcast, where Executive Coach Alicia Cowan will discuss leadership topics and coaching solutions to tackle the most difficult problems that keep you from leading your team to success.
Hi there, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Executive Coaching Podcast. So I'm Alicia Cowan, and today I want to talk to you about setting massive dream goals for 2023. So, big topic. So let's ease into it. Before we dive in, I want to talk a little bit about a personal update and wish you a very happy new year. As I am recording this, it is January 2nd, and we just got through the New Year's weekend. And you're probably listening to this either in mid-January when it airs or in the future, and you're probably well beyond Christmas and New Year's. But I want to give a quick recap. We had an amazing Christmas with the family. We had, an untraditional Christmas, we'll call it that, because we are building our dream home here in the Wesley Chapel area. So we have all of our stuff in storage, and we are in a furnished executive rental right now. And so we didn't have any of our normal stuff we would have for Christmas, the trees, the stockings, etc. So we made it a little bit of an untraditional Christmas and traveled. So we took our kids up to Orlando, and we stayed in Disney Springs area and went to a Cirque du Soleil show and had a great dinner and had fun running around, checking out all the different Disney themed trees. We're definitely a Disney family. And then my parents are in like the northern part of Orlando area. And so they really got their first Christmas at their house with all of the kids coming to them, grandkids coming to them. And we had a blast opening up presents with them and playing White Elephant, which got a little spicy, and did all that. And so it was just lovely. And then we had planned for the New Year's to have a kidless Christmas in Austin, Texas, with some of our best friends in Austin. And that all got blown up. So we had flights on Southwest, and the Southwest debacle basically ended up having us with no flights because they were all canceled. So it was a little bit more quiet. We spent our New Year's just really staying in and being kind of quiet and cooking and hanging out together, my husband and I. And yeah, so I had a lot of time to reflect back on 2022 and all the amazing things that we did. And now we're looking ahead towards 2023. So the kids are back at it tomorrow at school. And so this is a perfect time for me to just take this moment and start to talk to you about dreaming about 2023 and all that it may hold for us. So let's dive in on that topic. All right. So I want to talk today about setting some goals for 2023. I believe in setting goals and setting really big, what I call dream goals for ourselves. I do not believe in New Year's resolutions. I stopped doing New Year's resolutions many years ago, and that works for me. Again, if you like them, go for it. But for me, goals just feel just better, just better. I think resolutions sometimes mean that there's something that's gone wrong with us, or there's something we need to change about ourselves. Where goals, it's more about our future and what we want to achieve and what we have the capability of doing. So if you're with me, I'm sure you're like me in this mentality. As leaders, it's just in our nature just to dream big. It's funny. I was talking to my dad recently, and he just had this realization about me recently when he was thinking about everything that I've been going after and all the dreams that I've been achieving and doing all that in conjunction with, again, building a house and looking after our kids and doing all kinds of things all at the same time. He's like, I realized that you just had this sort of drive all along. And he thought I was maybe chasing big goals for different reasons as I was kind of coming up through my career in my 20s and things like that. But kind of just realized that I have always had this drive to contribute. And I think it's funny because as leaders, again, this is something that we can relate to. And we just don't have that internal whatever it may be, that lets us kind of just be stagnant and settle and be complacent. And, you know, it's in us. So I think if you can relate to that, just having that drive and not being able to at times sit still, because you're always going for the next thing, then hang out with me. You're my people. So I think sometimes as leaders, if we have something that drive, there are times we still forget to choose to go after the really big goal and we play it kind of safe. Again, I've been guilty of this. We get to the point where we're in these large leadership roles. We have a lot of people depending on us. At times, it could be an entire company. It could be the survival of a business. It could be our family members that are relying on us for a certain level of income that they've come to rely on and expect, as well as benefits, right? So we start to feel like that mounting pressure. And I know this because I've talked to you about it. I know I've talked to several of you that feel the weight of the world on their shoulders when it comes to the company, the business, their family, et cetera. So at times that pressure can lead us to play it small and stay safe. And again, while there's nothing wrong to, of course, want the success of your business and your company and your family and everyone to thrive, that all, of course, is normal and healthy. The fact that it's perhaps limiting you from achieving or going after something that you really want, it's just time to potentially look at that and evaluate it. Doesn't mean you have to make any decisions that are rash or unthought out or anything that's like quick, right? You just start to think about it and start to explore why. And that's what we're going to do as we go through this podcast. So if there's a part of you that, as I say that, and you're starting to think about big dreams and you're a little fearful or a little nervous, but yet somehow still intrigued and a little bit curious, man, keep listening. You're my people. So if you can identify with having that drive and that like itch for achievement, and perhaps now you may be feeling a little bit, again, maybe it's complacent, maybe stifled, maybe unsatisfied. Again, I crafted this message for you today. So let me talk to you about what I've been hearing and how this has been showing up for me in my world. I've heard, number one, people talking about their dreams and goals when I ask them what they want to go after. And a lot of times I'm hearing people outsourcing it to other people and even outsourcing it to me. So, I've talked to clients and they've asked, like, well, what do you think I should do? And as a coach, I don't have the right answers. And I know that a lot of times people, again, seek help and seek support for that, but there's no way that I can possibly know what is right for every single one of my clients, right? I can give perspective and I can give my inputs, but a lot of times people want to outsource that to me. Like, what do you think I should do? So a lot of times they'll look around as well outside of themselves for what the right answer is to what their dreams should be, right? And that can sound like looking for further education, looking for certifications, looking for a certain title or a certain amount of money that they think that they quote unquote should make. So again, like using that to try to define what they think should happen versus what they really love and want to do and go after. So as I was coaching this client again, that was outsourcing this decision-making process, I kept, peeling back and trying to understand what she really wanted. And when we got to it, the answer just came out so easily. But she realized that she wasn't really giving herself permission to want it. And this goal that she had was actually very realistic and still would be something that, again, would not only give her fulfillment, but also very much help her achieve financial and personal goals that she would want to have. So there really was something to that where she was outsourcing and trying to find the right answer rather than really listening to her own instincts. And so again, if you can identify with that, start to ask yourself, why? Okay, the second thing I've heard and that I've come across is being too busy. And we all can be culprits, present company included, of making this claim that we are just too busy to go after our dreams and what we want. Okay, so I can identify with this again as having, we have 5 kids and a husband and, business and clients and all of the things, right? It's a lot. So I had a client in a similar situation. So had a very high profile job, had kids and family and all the things. And she dreamed, though, of serving on a board of a nonprofit. And she really dreamed of fulfilling work and being able to give back in a certain way that really just filled her up. And so she had this calendar so filled, right? All those things that I just mentioned, and just kept piling on to dos and kept using it as a reason to delay her dreams. And so what we did together was really work to break down this larger, again, lifetime achievement type of dream, long-term dream, into small, really simple steps to just get momentum going. And it really helped her start to realize that she can take action and start to build and fuel that future dream and desire today, even if it's not like this massive breakthrough thing, and still fit it into, again, all the things that we have going on and not blame our schedules and being too busy. And so again, if you find yourself buffering by like doing that, take a look, okay, examine why. The third one is distracting with being so consumed and focused on the current circumstances that you're in and the current environment you're in. And so I'll give you an example of that. I had a client that was super paralyzed in her current role and current work that she was doing. She was all consumed with being frustrated and angry and hating the work, the job, the colleagues, the boss, and just was so frustrated with everything that was going on. And again, she's paralyzed, like couldn't even function in a way without just being so frustrated with what was going on. And so what we did together is we worked to peel back and pull through these issues and pull back what the core issue was. And once we had really kind of discovered and pulled all that back, we realized that this anger was a buffer. And what I mean is all this focus and attention was going onto others and the environment and the circumstances in the workplace. And it was covering up for the fact that she wasn't pursuing something that she truly, really wanted to do. And it was this sense of villainizing the workplace and the colleagues and everything that was going on in this circumstance, in this environment, rather than seeing like truly, it was just not her pursuing her dreams in this environment. So maybe that you can identify with that, with, again, any of those kind of situations. So perhaps you can identify with that one too. So one other thing that I've heard is this complacency effect. So a lot of times as we've come up through our careers, right, we have a lot of tenure. We go through our 20s working so hard to get to a certain level. We kind of get there in our 30s. We, perhaps find the spouse or the significant other, the kids, and the house. And then we get to the point where we're like, then what? Right. And so maybe we feel like maybe we've arrived and now it's just time to kind of coast and stop dreaming, stop achieving, stop going after. We've just gotten to this certain point and we're just going to cruise into retirement. But again, I think there's times where people, again, that are achievement driven, that are leaders, that and get to the point where like, now what? What about me? What else do I want? So maybe you identify with that one. And the last one that I want to talk about is, again, alluded to it earlier a little bit, but this scarcity. So not going after your dreams because you're feeling so scarce, as if there were so many people relying on me. I can't take a risk. Again, I may put the company or my family or the business in jeopardy because I can't put myself out there. I can't take a risk and do something. And at times, this is where we sometimes hear the jargon of like doing a stretch goal. And so maybe we try to do something just a little outside our comfort zone, but it's still relatively pretty safe. Or if you've ever heard the acronym choosing like a SMART goal, which again has its time and its place, but the SMART acronym stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and relevant, and time-bound. And while again, there's a really great place for that, sometimes sticking to the realistic and relevant kind of keeps us safe. And it doesn't push us into scarcity mode. We feel like, okay, if we just do what's already made us successful and maybe just stretch a little bit, we'll stay safe. And again, it's not a disparagement. Those those type of goals have their place. And I'm not saying just blow everything up, but just notice if you're playing it a little bit safe and you're trying to stay very realistic and relevant, because as a leader, innovation doesn't come from doing something that you've already done before. And putting ourselves out there as leaders and really pushing it and trying to come up with something new doesn't necessarily equate to playing it safe. All right. So ultimately, what does this all boil down to? So if you can identify with some of these different personas and these different situations that I've outlined, ultimately, all of them kind of result from this feeling of fear. And I talked a little bit about this in a prior episode, in episode 2. And that's really what this is all kind of covering up and coming down to and boiling down to. Again, we have what's called the motivational triad that I outlined in that episode as well. And when we go out and we lead teams or lead people, or even just our leaders in our own personal lives, we have to be willing to delay pleasure, experience pain and discomfort, and expend our energy by taking massive action. Because the motivational triad is the exact opposite of all of that. Okay. It's what's, again, instinctually kept us alive. But everything in our fiber and our being, we have to fight against in order to do the next big thing. Okay. So going after our goals, it's basically achieving it will be us stacking up piles and piles of failures in order to get there. And so when we go after that goal, it means we have to try something new. We have to fail. We have to try again. We might fail again. And we keep trying. And we have to have the fuel to keep trying until we succeed. And then we start to build momentum until we have a little bit of success along the way. We might build a new muscle. We'll build that momentum slowly. And we just won't have a ton of evidence that we can do it. Right? Because if you're going out innovating and you're trying something new, you can't look to your past and say, oh, well, we've done this before. We'll just stretch a little bit and do something a little bit differently or tweak something and innovate just a little bit. No, we've got to kind of completely build something new. And all of that requires a really high level of discomfort. And that is not something that we usually go out and seek. Okay, knowing all this and still wanting to be all in with going after our goals, what do we do? All right, I'm going to take you through 4 steps and we're going to talk about it. So, number 1, just start to dream. Ask yourself, what do you really want? And not just what other people tell us that we should want, not what society tells us what we should do next. What do you really want to do and go after and dream about it and dream big? And a lot of I don't even think we're asking ourselves this question anymore. Okay. It's so much about other people or about other, things, right? We forget and lose sight of what we truly want. So allow yourself to dream. And this might take some time. You may not know if you're not, used to asking yourself this question, what you really want to go after. This is big dream, lifetime achievement goals, right? Allow yourself to think about it. And it may take a little bit more than just the superficial answer you have. It might come to you super easy. It might not. But allow yourself to dream and start thinking about what you really want to go after. All right. Step 2, start to dream about what it would be like to have it. Go to your future. When you get that thing, when you achieve that goal, you get what you want. How does it feel? Pull that feeling from your future self in that moment and write down that feeling and remember it. Perhaps it's like feeling super proud. Maybe it's feeling very accomplished, whatever it is for you. Write that down and remember it. We are going to use that as fuel. Okay. Step 3, pick the next obvious step that you can take to go after your dream. Your brain's going to freak out when you decide on a dream. Okay. It's going to start to go into freak out mode. Okay. So you don't need to know all the steps. You don't need to know the exact how, even if the dream feels totally unrealistic. It's okay. Right. That's what dreams and innovation is all about. So if you knew you could achieve your goal, though, go to get into that future self. What would you be willing to do to try to achieve it? What do you think that the next steps reasonably that you could take? It could be just simple as something you need to learn, a skill you need to build. Maybe there's somebody that might know some of the answers to the questions that you have, maybe somebody that's done it before that can mentor you or teach you about it, whatever it may be. What is just something that's small, achievable? What are some of those next obvious steps you could take to go after your dream? Okay. You don't have to know every step in the how, just the next obvious step. All right. Step 4, act. We're going to take that feeling that you conjured up from step 2, right? From your future self. So again, maybe it was pride. We're going to use that as gasoline to our fire. We are going to take action on that step that we decided in step 3, and we're going to start to act using that feeling of pride or determination or maybe accomplishment, right? And it's okay. You may still feel a little bit afraid. You may still be a little bit fearful. That's okay. We can bring the fear alongside the pride and act and take all that massive action and just start to go after it, right? Again, we're not going to be pulled from our past. We're not going to be able to pull from something we've already done because we've never done this before. So we may have to pull from our future without evidence from our past and just start taking action towards our goal. And I promise you, so worth it. Okay. Who you become in this process, right? When you stop staying stagnant, staying complacent, doing what you've always done, and just rinsing and repeating, the growth that you experience, whether or not you achieve that thing, because let's face it, if you're going after massive, big dream goals, you're probably not going to achieve it just by taking one step. You're basically going to have to build that momentum. But who you become as you're building that momentum and learning those new skills and making new connections and going after this big, massive goal, who you become in the process is so worth it. So worth it. So ask yourself, what would you be willing to do to go after your dream? What little steps would you be willing to take? And what action would you be willing to do if you knew you could get it? Right? Okay, so why do all this, right? Why teach you all of this? Why do we even bother? Where you're at and your level of success and what you've done so far, pretty dang great, right? Well, I'll tell you, we need leaders to go after massive dream goals and stop letting our pre-programmed fear overrule these desires to hit our dream goals. Because as leaders, we need you. We need you to step into leading in a big, big way. And one day, when you achieve it, by setting that goal and reaching that big goal, when you get there, you can get to the point where you are taking on new leadership roles and leading larger teams, mentoring more people, maybe making more money for your company and your business that allows you to employ more people and expand and grow. Perhaps you're putting out innovative products and services into the hands of your customers that desperately need them. I'm telling you, I've talked to you and I've heard some of your dreams and goals, and they are phenomenal. And I know as a great leader, we need your dreams. We need your goals because you influence and impact so many people's lives. You can't even fathom it. So it is time in 2023 to start managing your mindset around it and keep dreaming, keep taking action, and let's go get them. All right. So again, I know that none of this is easy, right? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So if you know somebody that could use this message and use this podcast, please share it with them. Again, we want this information into the hands of the good guys where you are going after these big dreams. So please send them some love and support and send them this message. And if you need help talking through, again, what you are going through and what you're experiencing as you are working on some of your big goals, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm at Alicia Cowan Coaching, and I'm all over every platform. It's all in the show notes. So aliciacowancoaching.com. And please, I would love to connect with you. So if you need my help, you need some support, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Executive Coaching Podcast with Alicia Cowan. If you're ready to have an executive coach who's ready to help you lead your team to success, then book an introductory call at aliciacowancoaching.com/call.